An old man going a lone highway came at the evening cold and gray to a chasm vast and deep and wide, through which was flowing a sullen tide. The old man crossed in the twilight dim. The sullen stream had no fear for him, but he turned when safe on the other side and built a bridge to span the tide. "Old man," said a fellow pilgrim near, "you're wasting your strength with building here. Your journey will end with the ending day. You never again will pass this way. You've crossed the chasm deep and wide. Why build this bridge at evening tide?" The builder lifted his old gray head. "Good friend, in the path I have come," he said, "there followeth after me today a youth whose feet must pass this way. This chasm that has been naught to me, to that fair-haired youth may a pitfall be. He too must cross in the twilight dim. Good friend, I'm building the bridge for him."
welcome to our 32nd Annual Hall of Honor program. If this is your first visit to a Hall of Honor program, we're glad you came. If you've attended before, we're glad you're back. It's been called the greatest single hour of the school year. There is a warmth and great pride in this evening that honors the sons and daughters of Fairborn City Schools and the Fairborn community. There are people here from coast to coast and many points in between. They are friends, relatives, neighbors, classmates, teachers, and acquaintances. We come together to honor these people who have brought great credit to themselves, to the Fairborn City Schools, and to the Fairborn community. We come together to honor these people for their lives of service, achievement, and commitment. Before we present the colors, I would like to recognize the past enshrinees who are in the audience with us this evening. From the class of 1993, S. Jack Gayhart. If you'd please stand. From the class of 2006, Ann Armstrong Inglesby. From the class of 2007, Eugene C. Fisher. From the class of 2011, Reverend Craig L. Foreman. From the class of 2012, Ron L. McDermott and Barbara W. Parsons. From the class of 2013, Linda Brandenburg Miller. From the class of 2015, James S. Welty. From the class of 2016, Norma Watson Nicola. From the class of 2017, Judy Smith Jagger Mesher. And from the class of 2018, Joanne Shepard Collins and Kathleen Russell Rader. Thank you for attending this evening. As the colors are brought forward, please stand and then join in the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Air Force Junior ROTC, and please remain standing for the invocation, which will be given by Pastor Craig Foreman of Abiding Christ Lutheran Church. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Arms, right, shoulder, arms. Out, ready, hut. Out, or, arms. There, ready, out. Out, or, hurt.
God of grace and glory, so often we walk through this world neglectful of the impact we make upon others, thankless of the impact others have made upon us. But tonight we pause in prayer and gratitude to to remember the lives, contributions, and gifts of good people from this good community, a community that fostered and sent them into the world. As we walk the halls of this school and see their images on its walls, we give thanks for their continued gifts and impact. But most of all tonight, we give thanks to you, the author and giver of every good gift. Without you, we would have no being, no purpose, no hope. And so in this season of Easter, as people of faith, we contemplate the greatest gift of all. Remind us of where we started. Remind us of who walks with us. Remind us of what we have been called to do, the work of your kingdom. In the name of the one who you sent to us, the risen Lord Jesus Christ, in whose name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Foreman. And now I would like to introduce the president of the Fairborn City Schools Board of Education, Andrew Wilson.
You may be seated. Welcome to the family and friends of our inductees this evening. Would like to acknowledge the Hall of Honor committee members for their hard work behind the scenes in organizing the event, and also acknowledge our musical groups, the orchestra and the chamber chorale, and also acknowledge the Junior ROTC Color Guard for their support of the event. Tonight there are inductees that cover the graduating classes of the 60s, 70s, 80s, and the class of 2000. So I hope you all enjoy hearing their stories and their accomplishments during the evening. Thank you very much for your attendance here tonight. Turn it over to Jill.
Thank you. Next, we'll have a student message from the president of the Fairborn High School Student Congress, Jose Magway. Jose Magway II is the son of Penelope Magway and Jose Magway. He is a senior at Fairborn High School and the current Student Congress president. His activities include foreign exchange to Italy during his junior year, Leo Club, student ambassadors, student athletic trainer, freshman focus leader, and a National Honor Society member. Jose has committed to The Ohio State University and plans to major in athletic training. His future plan is to become a trauma surgeon.
Good evening and welcome to the Fairborn Hall of Honor ceremony. I'm Jose Magaway, president of the Fairborn High School Student Congress. Tonight, we recognize 7 Fairborn alumni who will be inducted into the Fairborn Hall of Honor class of 2019. Their accomplishments include our far-reaching from the late David Pickerel and his pioneering work with Maker's Mark and in the world of craft beers, to Sharon Honecker Rabb in the literary arts, establishing an international literary peace prize, and all the outstanding work the other inductees have achieved on behalf of Fairborn High School. On behalf of the students of Fairborn High School, I would like to thank the inductees for the contributions. Congratulations to the inductees into the Fairborn High School Hall of Honor class of 2019.
Thank you, Jose. Next, I would like to introduce the superintendent of Fairborn City Schools, Mr. Gene Lawley.
Good evening and welcome to the 32nd Annual Hall of Honor enshrinement. Tonight, we honor 7 outstanding individuals for their excellence in their chosen fields and for their commitment to the Fairborn City Schools. I honor each inductee in the class of 2019, and I extend a warm welcome to each of you.
Thank you, Superintendent Lawley. The words to the Fairborn alma mater were penned by Harry Smith, class of 1912, that was a long time ago, who served the Fairborn City Schools for 40 years and who is enshrined in the Hall of Honor. He set the words to the familiar and well-known music of the Cornell University alma mater. When this segment of the program was first presented in one of the early Hall of Honor ceremonies, it was an instant hit with the audience and had now become a tradition. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please stand and recall your special high school memories as the Chamber Chorale, under the direction of Miss Karen Goretta, sings the Fairborn High School alma mater. Thank you, Mrs. Goretta and the Chamber Chorale. We'll start with our enshrinement at this time, and I would like to introduce Sharon Honecker Rabb. She is a 1964 graduate of Fairborn High School, where she was president of the Future Teachers of America, treasurer of Tri-High-Y, member of the National Honor Society, a cappella choir and speech groups, and an active member of Trinity United Church of Christ. She received a Bachelor of Arts in English from Miami University and a Master of Education in Curriculum and Supervision from Wright State University. She taught honors English classes at Kettering Fairmont High School and also taught numerous courses at Miami University and the University of Dayton. She served on the board of directors for the National Council of Teachers of English, on the advisory board for the Ohio Writing Project, and on the board of trustees of the Muse Machine. For more than 20 years, she has hosted the cable show Writer to Writer, where she has interviewed hundreds of authors, and she has had short stories, memoirs, poetry, and articles published in local and national publications. In 2006, she created the Dayton Literary Peace Prize, an international award to advance peace through literature. This award has been given to national and international luminaries and is one of the most prestigious literary awards in the world. She received many honors for her achievements. She and her husband Larry reside in Oakwood. Superintendent Lally, it is my honor to present for enshrinement into the Fairborn City Schools Hall of Honor, Sharon Honecker Rabb.
Hi, are you getting feedback from me? I want to thank that Fairborn Hall of Honor Committee again, and I want to thank Dee Coker-Resk for nominating me. We have been friends since we were 3 years old, and she still nominated me. Thank you to the friends and family who are sharing this evening with me, and congratulations to my fellow recipients, especially my classmate Gloria Jean Chittum Porter, who's been going through some pretty tough times. While Fairborn honors us, those of us on the stage and former honorees in the audience reflect the legacy of Fairborn. In 1995, Ambassador Richard Holbrooke brokered the Dayton Peace Accords at Wright-Patterson, ending the ethnic cleansing in Bosnia-Herzegovina that claimed more than 300,000 lives and displaced over 1 million people in what Holbrooke himself described as the worst killing ground in Europe since World War II. He ended a war with words, and he brought peace, an imperfect peace, but one that has held far longer than anyone expected it to. When he returned to Dayton 10 years later, he told us that whenever Milosevic threatened to pull out of the peace talks, Holbrooke would give a signal, and several flights of F-15s would buzz the Hope Hotel, and the talks would resume. The connection between peace and the military has been demonstrated to me all my life. In my child's mind, the base was a living thing. Every morning it breathed in, and my father and his friends and my friends' fathers and mothers would go behind the gates. In the late afternoon, the base would breathe out and they would return. Since my grandfather, grandmother, father, aunt, and uncle all worked at the base in various military and civilian capacities, and since I could ride my bike past the turtle pond and into the officers' quarters to visit my friends and their families, I had no fear of the military. Even when the SAC bombers took off in rapid succession, the power of war rumbling in our lungs while we held tightly to the pencils that were vibrating on our desks, our teachers burst into silence. My sense was more of protection than fear. War itself, I didn't understand. In the 50s, I would ride my bike past the Atlas ICBMs to the Air Force Museum that was out at the end of Main Street, and I'd go into the cool dark and stare at the mural of the kamikaze pilots dive bombing the US ships. The mural was vast and terrifying, and so detailed I could see the snarling faces of the kamikazes as they dove to their deaths. I was drawn to the mural because I didn't understand it, and I still don't. I grew up in Fairborn with a sense of belonging and safety. Maybe it was because my dad could proudly point to his name on the bronze plaque at Central School flagpole, the gift of his class, the first to graduate from the school. Maybe it was the endless summer nights on Holmes Drive when the Honeckers and Hers and Interlines and Bushmeyers and the other neighborhood kids played long games of Run Sheepy Run, my dad and Mr. Herr as the team leaders. Herds of children ranged for blocks, hiding in bushes and behind garages, waiting for one of the fathers to call, "Run, Sheepy, run." We raced to be the first team to touch the large elm in our front yard. Home base. Think of that term, home base. The sense of belonging peaked as I proudly watched my father, the mayor, welcome presidential candidate John F. Kennedy to Fairborn. Maybe because Mrs. Gerhardt, my favorite teacher at Fairborn, did such a stellar job of teaching the structure of the Constitution that I am assured it would never fail us. Whatever the reasons, and there are many more, I had a strong sense of community, of belonging, of peace. I know that wasn't true for all of my friends, certainly not for all the children around the globe, but it was true for me, and I hope that someday it will be true for everyone. That sense of community was strengthened and expanded to include the earth and all the creatures on it through the lessons from my parents, my teachers, and my church. When Dad was mayor, we left the house early on holidays to feed and walk the dogs at the pound, since the city workers didn't come in on holidays. Several days before, we would help deliver food baskets to the needy in the area. Having lived through the Depression, Mom and Dad were experts at conservation. They were chairs at the paper drive when Mom was president of the Central PTA. Collecting newspapers, saving string, tin foil, and rubber bands were all part of conservation back then. Trinity Church believed in activism. In the 60s, Reverend Myler gathered volunteers from our congregation to travel south to register voters. Too young to go, our Sunday school group gathered food, clothing, and toys for the children of the migrant workers at Tip Top Canning. Nature was sacred. Our weekly family hikes through the Glen or John Bryan, we carried out any litter we came across. Through myriad examples, I came to realize we are stewards of the earth and caretakers of all of its inhabitants. Empathy, the founding for peace, grew from this realization. From its inception, Dayton Literary Peace Prize was an international award. When I visited my military friends' homes, a camel's saddle might serve as a footstool. A Swiss music box playing large brass records would entertain us. Intricate Turkish carpets covered the floors. My dad sent exotic dolls from around the world when he was away on TDY. My classes at Central and at the high school were made up of city kids, farm kids, and the military kids, who just transferred in from Guam or Wiesbaden or Paris. My elementary teachers were often young military wives who, having spent years abroad, taught us to count in Japanese or German or French. I will not demonstrate. Of course, the DPNL would be an international award. I had understood since I was small the concept of a connected world. It never occurred to me that establishing an international literary prize was beyond the realm of possibility. I grew up with models that proved any dream could become a reality. My grandparents moved from Chicago to Old Osborne, and Dad loved telling the story of playing baseball out where the flight line joins 235 when one of his friends yelled, "Hey Honecker, here comes your house." I wish we could have listened in at that Osborne meeting where the first person said, "Well, let's just move the town." Yes, let's move 300 buildings down the road, just down the road. The houses, yeah, the train depot, yep. The churches, yeah, the stores. Let's just move it, the town. What an incredible undertaking. I also frequently heard stories that my grandfather, frustrated by higher rent on the moved house because it now had a basement, bought 2 lots on Green Street and personally built 2 houses that still stand. The first he built out of World War I airplane parts, and if any of you are in the Historical Society, I'll be glad to fill you in on the mahogany propellers that he planed to serve as woodwork, the parachute silk insulation, the tail skids that support the roof. Dad also knew how to build. As mayor, Dad heard that the Ohio Board of Regents was looking at sites around the state for a new university. Dad worked in technical intelligence and envisioned a university and military R&D partnership. So he pushed for water and sewer to be extended beyond the Wright View area, and Fairborn was able to vie for the university that is now Wright State. The history of Fairborn shows that nothing is impossible, it just needs getting done. My empathetic education continued through reading. My family had a large collection of books. My teachers valued reading. We lived a short block, 2 blocks from the library. The first book report I remember was in Mrs. Fife's 5th grade class in the large curved corner room at Central. I reported on Laddie by naturalist Gene Stratton Porter, a book my father had read in elementary school. I talked for 20 minutes before Mrs. Fife made me stop, and don't be afraid, it won't be 20 minutes tonight. I think the kids listened because I had just won a dare, and I just carried Jack Adamson, who was the largest kid in our class, across the room, so they were real quiet while I was reporting. My 47 years of teaching English, I shared a series of books that students loved, as Dad and I loved Laddie. From our earliest days, stories create a shared world and develop empathy. As a teacher, I witnessed books opening students' minds to new ideas, changing lives, even saving lives. It's not such a big step to imagine that books can open minds around the world, humanizing our sense of the other. That's the goal of the Dayton Literary Peace Prize, an international award, which is considered one of the most prestigious literary awards in the world. In our first 13 years, our volunteers have presented awards to 72 authors, over half of them born outside the US, in Algeria, Australia, Bosnia, China, England, Dominican Republic, Ethiopia, Ghana, Haiti, Jamaica, Kenya, Nigeria, Peru, the Republic of Ireland, Romania, South Africa, South Korea, and Vietnam. The list of authors who have graced the Schuster stage includes the names of established and emerging authors whose works promote the concept of peace, including Dave Edgars, Marilyn James, John Irving, Marilyn Robinson, Louise Erdrich, Wendell Berry, Tim O'Brien, Robert Kingsolver, Geraldine Brooks, Nicholas Kristof, Elie Wiesel, and Studs Terkel, and dozens more. I am a better person for having read these books, and the world is a better place with a greater hope for peace because a worldwide audience reads them. I am convinced that peace is possible, and that advancing peace through literature is an essential part of the process. As Holocaust survivor Elie Wiesel said when he received our Lifetime Achievement Award, are we so naive as to think that we can change the world with words? Yes, we are. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Robert C. Carrico graduated in 1966 from Fairborn High School, where he was a member of the Student Council and Letterman's Club, a founding member of the high school wrestling team, and a 3-year member of the football team, where he played on the 1966 Western Ohio League championship team. He attended the Ohio School of Banking and the Ohio School of Consumer Credit. He worked in his family stores, Right View Variety Store and Carrico's Department Store, at W.T. Grant and Farmers and Merchants Bank, and in 1986 became the Assistant Vice President of U.S. Bank and the manager of the downtown Fairborn Central Office, and won their Pinnacle Award. He now works part-time for Airplane Plastics and helped construct the front canopy for the Memphis Belle. He served 20 years on the executive board of the Fairborn Chamber of Commerce and Ambassadors Club, won the Chamber ACE Award, and served in numerous officer positions. He was president and board member of the Miami Valley Military Affairs Association, member of the Fairborn Rotary Club, where he was awarded a Paul Harris Fellow, chairman of the Greene County United Way campaign, and a member of the Fairborn City Schools Board of Education. He and his wife Debbie reside in Fairborn and have 3 daughters, Marcy, Dana, and Jennifer, and 11 grandchildren. Superintendent Lawley, it is my honor to present for enshrinement into the Fairborn City Schools Hall of Honor, Robert C. Carrico.
Good evening, and thank you, Fairborn Schools, for this wonderful evening. In 34 years of banking, I had the opportunity to sit through a lot of boring speeches. Tonight, I get to stand. Fairborn Schools have always been a very important part of my life. Not only did I attend Fairborn Schools for 12 years, but Debbie and I raised 3 daughters who attended Fairborn Schools, 1 through 12, and all 3 graduated from college. And more recently, 4 of our grandkids have graduated or are presently attending Fairborn Schools, with our oldest granddaughter graduating valedictorian from Fairborn Schools and will be graduating from The Ohio State University in only 3 years come this May 5th. So, I was a banker for 34 years, and those 30 years were spent serving customers in Fairborn. During that time, I had the opportunity to meet a lot of people and get to know many of them. And some of them became very good friends. Also, during my time as a banker, I got to know and work with some individuals that had an idea, determination, and willing to work hard to turn that idea into successful business. Just to cite a few examples. One individual that was a tool and die worker that wanted more. He started basically with nothing but an idea.
determination, and hard work. And he has been able to build a very successful tool and die design business here in Fairborn. Another customer was working at Radio Shack and feeling like he was stuck in a dead-end job. He took the leap, opened a very small video rental and electronic parts store. He struggled at first, but came up with several ideas for his business that gave him great success. And my last example, this customer worked for a company that molded plastic windows and some airplane windows. Once again, this individual wanted more and knew he had better ways to get things done. He was finally able to purchase a portion of the business that focused on airplane windows and canopies. This company has achieved great success and is well respected in the private aviation community. In the last year, he was asked to make a nose piece for the Memphis Belle, which is currently on display in the Air Force Museum. And a side note, I got to help with that. That was a lot of fun. So I have a tremendous admiration and respect for these individuals that are willing to take a chance, willing to work hard, and see their dreams realized. That was the fun and rewarding part of my banking career. Finally, I want to remember and say thank you to some of the many teachers who played an important part in my becoming an educated adult. I have to start off with my first grade teacher, Mrs. Eleanor Hunt. As I look back, I may have not been her best student. I think she would be in shock if she were here tonight. Next, Mr. Earl Marshall, who taught mechanical drawing and architectural drafting. He was a very no-nonsense, but everyone who had Mr. Marshall learned a lot and had total respect for this talented teacher. Next, Miss Mary Lou Andes, my 7th grade English teacher. She was a great teacher and later became a great friend. Next, Coach Lloyd Williams, the high school football coach. He was gruff, he was tough, and sometimes a little salty. But he was able to motivate a bunch of young men to excel and try harder than they had ever tried before. And by the way, we won the WFL football championship during my senior year. And finally, Mr. Tom Swain. I feel the greatest teacher Fairborn School has ever known. Mr. Swain was my 6th grade teacher, and it was his first year teaching at Fairborn. I had the privilege of serving on the Fairborn Board of Education while Mr. Swain was on the board. What a great teacher, what a great man. To wrap it up, I've enjoyed serving the people of Fairborn and hope I've played a small role in making Fairborn a little bit better. This has been a very special night for me and my family. And lastly, nothing I've done would have been possible without the love and support of my wife, Debbie. Thank you, and I love you.
Michael J. McCarthy graduated in 1987 from Fairborn High School, where he was co-president of the National Honor Society, member of Student Congress, Varsity Club, and Latin Club, served as a student athletic trainer for varsity sports teams, and was a top scholar, National Merit Scholarship semifinalist, and a delegate to Buckeye Boys State. He was a member of the speech and debate team and placed 3rd in the Ohio Lincoln Douglas debate tournament, earning the National Forensic League degree of special distinction. He was a member of the inaugural class of the Society of Jaeger Scholars and received a scholarship to Marshall University in Huntington, West Virginia, where he earned a Bachelor of Science in 1991 and a Master of History in 1992. After graduation, he joined the Department of Academic Computing at the Marshall University School of Medicine. He is currently the Chief Information Officer for the School of Medicine and Marshall Health and has authored numerous articles. He has worked on many levels as a soccer referee, and since 2010 has served as the State Referee Administrator for West Virginia on behalf of the U.S. Soccer Federation and the West Virginia Soccer Association. He is a member of the U.S. Youth Soccer East Region Referee Committee. He and his wife Diane have 2 sons, Jameson and Evan, and reside in Huntington. Superintendent Lawley, it is my honor to present for enshrinement into the Fairborn City Schools Hall of Honor, Michael J. McCarthy.
Years ago, Fairborn, Ohio traded me to Huntington, West Virginia for a player to be named later. Earlier this month, you opened your first franchise of West Virginia's own Tudor's Biscuit World. Even my best friends in both states would agree you got the better end of the deal. I'm proud to be a product of the public schools in Fairborn, but I'll note that they did not train me for the job I've done for the last couple of decades at Marshall's Medical School. Instead, they prepared me, they nurtured me, they educated me to have a career in the worlds of technology that didn't even exist when I was here at the high school. There are 2 people in particular who stand out from my own high school career as my teachers, both of whom are prior inductees into the Hall of Honor. My debate coach, Linda Miller, from whom I learned to be humble in victory and gracious in defeat. And my history and literature teacher, Michael Seward, from whom I learned to err on the side of compassion. Thank you very much for this honor. I will do my best to live up to it. Thank you.
Amy Stamper Gayhart is a 1991 graduate of Fairborn High School, where she was senior class president, a top scholar, cheerleader, and a member of Student Congress and the yearbook staff. She holds a degree in English education from Wright State University, a Master of School Counseling from Liberty University, and earned principal and superintendent licensure from the University of Dayton. She has been employed by the Fairborn City Schools for 21 years, teaching at Baker Middle School and Fairborn High School for 14 years, serving as assistant principal at Fairborn High School for 5 years, and currently completing her 2nd year as Fairborn High School principal. Amy serves on the Hall of Honor Committee, District Leadership Team, Advisory Council for Greene County Career Center, Wright State University Partnership Network, Ohio Department of Education Advanced Placement Advisory Council, and she is a proud and active member of TWIGS, Terrific Women in Giving. She has twice been named the Fairborn Education Foundation and Alumni Association Most Influential Teacher and received the Chamber of Commerce Fairborn City Schools Education Award. Her children are both graduates of Fairborn High School, her son in 2011 and her daughter in 2014. She and her husband Kirk reside in Fairborn. Superintendent Lawley, I present to you Amy Stamper Gayhart, who will accept this honor on behalf of her aunt, Gloria Jean Chittum Porter, who is unable to join us this evening.
Good evening. On behalf of my aunt, Gloria Jean Chittum Porter, I would like to thank the Fairborn Board of Education, Superintendent Lawley, and the Hall of Honor Committee for her induction tonight. If you would allow me just a few minutes, I would like to tell you about my Aunt Jean and end with words that she asked me to share with all of you. Jean is the daughter of the late Baxter and Dorothy Chittum, and she graduated in 1964 from Fairborn High School, where she was a member of Tri-High Y TAC, the annual staff, sophomore dance committee, and Prince of Peace. She was active in the school's theater program, and she performed in Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. She attended Sinclair Community College and later attended Central Arizona College, where she studied business management. Licensed as a real estate agent in both Arizona and Ohio, she was the owner and sales associate of Porter Properties in Casa Grande, Arizona, and Oak Creek Realty in Dayton, Ohio. In Casa Grande, she was the charter president of the Women's Council of Realtors and a member of the Board of Realtors. In 1993, she returned to Fairborn, where for 3 years, she worked as the public information officer and developed the first Spirit volunteer program for the city of Fairborn. My aunt's two passions, which have motivated her throughout her life, are women and children. She has invested her energy in improving the lives of thousands through her clear vision, strong leadership, and tireless efforts. Her list of accomplishments is truly remarkable. As an advocate for children, she was the volunteer program director at the nonprofit Casa de Amparo Crisis Center for Abused and Neglected Children in Oceanside, California. She was behind the creation of what many of you know as CASA, Court-Appointed Special Advocates programs in Greene and Warren counties. CASA trains volunteer adult citizens to serve as the eyes and ears before the court systems on behalf of abused, neglected, and dependent children. Jean's commitment to empowering women is behind many professional and personal success stories. In 2008, she founded Women in Business Networking, a forum which provides relationship building, education, resources, and recognition for women and helps them to achieve their career and personal success. She led the effort to merge Women in Business Networking in 2014 with the Miami Valley Better Business Bureau, and today it is a vital program of the BBB, as well as the Dayton region's leading organization for women in business and professional careers. Jean has always been a proponent of networking and philanthropy. She chartered various Toastmaster clubs, was a board member for the Dayton Women's Club and the Ohio CASA Association. She has also served on community advisory boards as well as multiple boards of directors. As if all of these commitments didn't keep her busy enough, in 2015 she authored a book titled Success Powered by Relationships, and she has also been a contributing author of the book 40/40 Rules. Jean has earned many honors and recognitions throughout her life. She was awarded Realtor of the Year in Casa Grande, Arizona, received the Dayton YMCA's Women of Influence Award, and the Girl Scouts of Western Ohio's Women of Leadership Award. Under her leadership, the Women in Business Networking was nominated and received the 2014 Eclipse Integrity Award from the Miami Valley Better Business Bureau. My aunt's list of accomplishments is long and impressive, but what I wish you to know most about her is that she is truly genuine, she has a servant heart, and she makes any person feel that they are the most important person in the world. She asked me to share with you that education, in her opinion, is not only important, but the key to one's foundation from child to adulthood. She sends her humble appreciation to Lema Rastiskas, who submitted the nomination for this recognition. She also sends her congratulations to the other members of tonight's induction class, especially Sharon Honecker-Rabb, who was her classmate through their lives, and though their lives parted after high school, they were united just a few years ago, both socially and professionally. Sharon's actually over here. Finally, Jean would like to thank the heroes and sheroes of her life. First and foremost, she recognizes and thanks God for His grace in her life, which allow for opportunities that she knows are not of her hand or of any other human hand. She also thanks her husband Mike and their 5 adult children, Michelle, Kimberly, Michael, Jamie, and Stephen, her 8 grandchildren, Jenna, Joshua, Jessica, Jenny Lynn, Jordan, Mallory, Madison, and Chandler, and her 3 great-grandchildren, Elena, Caden, and Aubrey. In closing, she asked me to leave you with this final thought. To be loved by God is the highest relationship, the greatest achievement ever, and the noblest of position in life. Thank you again.
Michael G. Hazley graduated in 1967 from Fairborn High School, where he was the football team equipment manager, member of the Letterman's Club, and coach of a Babe Ruth baseball team. He has had a lifelong love of auto racing. While he was still in school, he worked with teacher Jim Welty on his race car. In 1968, he worked as a mechanic at the Indianapolis 500 for George Walther's Dayton Steel Wheel Special, and then served 2 years in the United States Marine Corps. After driving his own car in several races at local speedways, he returned to mechanics and spent the next 30 years as a professional Indy car and Indy light car mechanic. He was the lead mechanic for Treadway Racing on the Indy car that set the 1 and 4 lap qualifying speed records in 1996. These speeds earned a spot in the Guinness Book of World Records and still stand. In the 1997 Indy 500 race, he was the transmission specialist for the company, and Treadway Racing became the first team to take first place, with Ari Lyondike in second place with Scott Goodyear. He ended his career at Menard Racing. He is a founding member of Abiding Christ Lutheran Church and a member of the Old Timers Club at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the Dayton Auto Race Fans Club. He and his wife Linda live in Huber Heights and have a daughter Nikki and 3 grandchildren. Superintendent Lawley, it is my honor to present for enshrinement into the Fairborn City Schools Hall of Honor, Michael G. Hazley.
Gotta get out my reading glasses as I've gotten a little older. First, I want to thank everybody for coming. I want to thank the Hall of Honor Committee for granting me this honor. I would like to thank my teachers and coaches who gave me a great education and the idea to never quit learning. I want to thank my family for their help and understanding, and my daughter Nikki, who grew up with her dad here. I especially want to thank my wife Linda for all she had to put up with me. I can't tell you how much she has meant to me and to my success. Thank you. I was fortunate to have great in-laws, Harold and Ruth Riney, the best anyone could ever hope for. And to my parents, Gene and Barbara, who supported me in my dreams. I know they wanted me to at least consider a backup plan because they knew that what I wanted to do would be difficult. I really didn't have a backup plan, but they taught me to believe in myself. This part's hard. To my friend Ron Swinford, who convinced me to join the Marines, and I went with him on a buddy plan. He was killed in action on September 4th, 1970, and we came home together as well. I served as his body escort, and the hardest thing I've ever done was give back to his mother. I then returned to Camp Lejeune and finished my enlistment. I had a friend in high school, Kurt Boyd, class of '68, who once told me that I was the only person he knew in high school that knew what I wanted to do and actually went out and did it. I thought in reality that seemed kind of sad that people didn't seem to have the hopes and dreams. I want to thank Jim Welty, who allowed me to work with him on his race car, considering that all I had at that time was ambition. It was Jim who gave me the foundation for my racing career. Thank you, Jim. He gave me the opportunity for me to have a 30-year career in Indy cars, to be able to be the lead mechanic on a car that set the 1 and 4 lap qualifying records, and to be a part of a team that won the 1997 Indy 500, the
first team ever to get pole position as fastest qualifier and finish first and second in the race. Yeah, here I am, a kid who grew up in Fairborn. I got to be a part of the largest single-day sporting event in the world by attendance. I'm blessed that I got to live my dreams. Thank you for letting me be part of Fairborn High School Hall of Honor.
Scott W. Bauer graduated in 2000 from Fairborn High School, where he was a 3-year class officer, president of a cappella choir, secretary of National Honor Society, and prom king. He was a member of Student Congress, Quill and Scroll, News Hawk staff, Varsity Club, Chamber Chorale, Men's Octet and Show Choir, and lettered in cross country and track. A 4-year straight-A student, he was a delegate to Buckeye Boys State and was the DAR Good Citizen of the Year and the News Hawk Student of the Year. He received a full academic scholarship to Wright State University, where he earned a Bachelor of Science in Marketing summa cum laude in 2004 and a Master of Business Administration in 2005. He began his federal career in 2005 at Wright-Patterson, and as a financial specialist and cost analyst for the MQ-1 Predator, he managed a $1 billion procurement account. He transferred to the Secretariat of the Air Force for Financial Management and Comptroller Directorate at the Pentagon and was the Chief of the Exercise Branch. He is currently the Director, Acquisition Career Management for the Fourth Estate, where he has significant responsibility for training 30,000 civilian workforce members. He is a published author and has received many honors, including the Air Force Civilian Achievement Award. He resides in Alexandria, Virginia. Superintendent Lawley, it is my honor to present for enshrinement into the Fairborn City Schools Hall of Honor, Scott W. Bauer.
Good evening. I don't know if you can hear me or not. Okay. 407 years ago is a great way to start a speech, but I can't use that. So what I want to do here is simply thank the folks that helped me become who I am today. To my family, it's hard to put into words exactly how thankful I am for you and everything you've done for me. I was truly blessed with the most amazing family in the world. There was never a time I couldn't count on you guys. You're my support system, my rock, and my life. You believe in me even when I don't believe in myself. You cheer me on and you push me even when I want to give up. You are the reason I am who I am today. To my grandma, thank you for being the most gracious person I've ever met. Gracious not only with gifts and love, but also with time and patience. When I was young, you wanted to spend as much time with me as possible because you knew that someday our time together would fade. Of course, as a kid, I didn't believe you, but as you predicted, life got busy. Thank you for sharing with me the gift of compassion and thoughtfulness, qualities I strive to replicate. To my mom, you are the light of my life. You taught me what it means to love unconditionally and how to work hard for something I'm passionate about. You are the reason for my faith, and I love growing in Christ with you. You show me that hard work amounts to success, but your success means nothing without strong family. Money doesn't buy you happiness. The people you surround yourself with does. Thank you for being my role model and my biggest fan. To my dad, I owe you my professional success, from proofreading hundreds of papers and essays and articles, to submitting my resume on base for my first GS4 clerk position. You helped me navigate my adult life. From professional advice like keeping my car clean because you never know when your boss might want you to take him to lunch, to recommending I come up with a different introduction than the evening waned on every paper I wrote, you gave me real actionable advice that has paid dividends. Thank you for loving my mom and for loving us with everything you have. To my brother Steve, you may be my little brother, but you watch out for me and protect me like you're the older sibling. You amaze me day in and day out with how compassionate you are for the people and the things you love. Thank you for being a friend, an inspiration, and a wonderful father to Caleb. To Andy, thank you for being my partner in crime and encouraging me to take risks. I'm thankful we can share daily work drama with each other and brainstorm issues together. Thank you for motivating me to career broaden into Washington, D.C. It's been an amazing 4 years. Teachers are the backbone of our society because they contribute to the shaping of our future nation. Next, I'd like to thank a few that have left an indelible mark on my life. In my current position, words matter. Whether we're communicating with the Department of Defense leadership or staffers on the Hill, the ability to get your point across in a clear and concise manner is critical. 7th grade was a turning point with me in regards to reading, writing, and comprehension. Miss Kathy Russell Rader took us on a literary journey that I will never forget. From Agatha Christie to the 5 Whys of World War II, she encouraged us to become comfortable acknowledging emotional responses in literature and pushed us to become clinical crafters of arguments and masters of academic language. Miss Judy Smith taught us about the wonders of the human body and the importance of health from a young age. Her sense of humor and compassion got me through some dark times at Baker Junior High School. And she continued to be my friend. We reconnected for a brief period in high school, and I will always remember that day. It wasn't until a few months ago that we were connected again on Facebook, and now we're friends for life. It's not surprising that both of these esteemed teachers have been inducted into the Fairborn City Schools Hall of Honor. In high school, I was surrounded by yet another body of exceptional role models and mentors. Ms. Debbie Roshto made learning the periodic table fun and allowed me to ease into college chemistry. She motivated me to keep my head high as I trudged through the federal hiring process. Miss Belinda Banks used osmosis to educate us on advanced biology, and it's no surprise to me that she ended up as principal at Fairborn High School. Miss Angela Conning taught us how to factor trinomials, whatever those are. But actually, math is very important in my current role. Miss Linda Bizzaro gave me an opportunity to be the first ever student accompanist during our junior high choir concert, and I followed her throughout high school as part of multiple choral groups. She was like a second mother to me, and her music will always be a part of my heart. Ms. Debbie Hartley was the first person who encouraged me to put my name in the hat to be a class officer. She allowed me the opportunity to lead small projects in class and helped groom me for positions of greater responsibility. Some of my most memorable high school experiences were organizing and decorating for dances and volunteer work as part of the student council. Watching her organize multifaceted events with precision and excellence is a skill I strive to emulate in my current position. I had the pleasure of taking several electives with Miss Barbara Parsons, and no class was the same. The amount of preparation she invested in each lesson was remarkable, and a testament to her dedication for higher learning. Both Miss Hartley and Miss Parsons were involved in an unfortunate situation with FHS leadership during their tenure, and our student class defended their legacies to the Board of Education. We were proud to do it. Thank you for continuing to volunteer for Fairborn City Schools. A quick thank you to my supervisors that have believed in me along the way. Bear with me. Thank you to Laura Davis, Brenda Hines, Rob Leibengrover, Linda Turner, Carrie Denny, Colonel Mike Munson, Colonel Elizabeth Idle, General Mike Greiner, the Honorable Ricardo Aguilera, Carolyn Gleason, James Woolsey, Joe Johnson, Bob Doherty, and last but not least, Tammy Phillips. I had the privilege of working for Tammy twice. She is the ultimate motivator, an astute professional, an expert financial manager and cost analyst, and a friend. Undoubtedly, I've forgotten someone on that long list, and I am welcoming the public shame. William Arthur Ward is quoted as saying, "The mediocre teacher tells, the good teacher explains, the superior teacher demonstrates, the great teacher inspires." I am eternally grateful to my family, friends, and the Fairborn City Schools for their continuing inspiration. Thank you.
Donna Logan Welty is a 1974 graduate of Park Hills High School, where she was a member of the Student Council, president of the Art Club, and a varsity cheerleader. She attended Wright State University, majoring in art and special education with a focus on interpersonal communication. She has worked both as a summer parks counselor and a city parks director for Fairborn Department of Parks and Recreation, has sold ads for the Fairborn Daily Herald, and acted as advertising manager for LB Shoes. She has also been an activity assistant for 3 nursing homes, arranged and designed bouquets for both Hope's and Holland Flowers, sold houses for United Realtors of Fairborn, and served as the administrative assistant for the vice president and dean of faculty for Antioch College. As a volunteer for more than 10 years, she has operated as the advertising director, media center director, and performers party director for the Dayton International Air Show. Donna has been married to the irascible Jim Welty since 2005. She has 3 daughters, Tiffany Clark, Ashley Ark, and Caitlin Michael Hollenbaugh, and 7 grandchildren, Jordan, Kira, Sophia, Lillian, Nathan, Andrew, and Logan. Superintendent Lawley, I present to you Donna Logan Welty, who is here tonight to accept this honor on behalf of David S. Pickrell, who sadly passed away on November 1st, 2018.
Superintendent Lally, a little short. Superintendent Lally, Pam Fahart, Barb Parsons, committee, thank you for this opportunity to speak for Dave Pickrell. To those of you who came from Dave's family, Becca, Rick, and others, thank you for coming. Friends and classmates, thank you for supporting Dave Pickrell. I've been trying for several years to get Dave into the Hall of Honor as a surprise, but I couldn't get the information I needed to fill out the forms, so this past year, with a little nudging of Barb Parsons, I tried one more time and I went directly to Dave, asking if I could put his name in the basket. And his response was, I would be honored, blush. Well, actually it was a text. Those were his last words to me. But honored, he meant it. That's who Dave was. You can read the biography and you can YouTube him. The internet holds hours and hours of Dave, the world's #1 master distiller, world renowned, bigger than life itself, and yet he was our Dave from our neighborhood, and he never talked to us like he was anything else. Did you know that he was responsible for recreating the rye whiskey George Washington's distillery made at Mount Vernon? He recreated history. On one of his visits home, he met a few of us for dinner, as we do from time to time, and told us about that project. And then during a conversation later with Kenny Fife, who got to brag about his son heading off to become a doctor, Dave went to his infamous 95 white Cadillac DeVille, and out of that enormous trunk, he pulled out a bottle of George Washington rye whiskey made from the rye of our founding fathers' own rye, and gave that bottle to Ken as a congratulations on the event. Dave was kind and involved. Dave was driven. He knew, born in the small town of Fairborn, he saw that comet he wanted to lasso and ride, even as a child. He wasn't sure of the destination, but he was on it all the way. He tells stories of how he knew early on he wanted to become a chemical engineer. And from a young age, he set his goal, and everything he did from that point on was to reach that goal. From excellent grades, to becoming a football star, to earning a scholarship to West Point. He knew where he was going, and he was gonna make it on his own. Again, you can just read the bios. At this point, I have to pause and comment about the exorbitant amount of money it costs in the Fairborn City Schools to pay sports, music, the arts, or any other extracurricular activity. Our generation was blessed of the Fairborn City Schools of the past. Dave's family didn't have money for that. So Dave would have never gotten that football scholarship or gone to West Point. How many Daves are out there missing their purpose because their family can't afford it? Eventually, after landing at Maker's Mark, Dave honed his skills as a master distiller. After years perfecting their image and growing Makers to one of the top bourbons, he grew tired of, as he said, hitting that bullseye every time. Of course, Makers wanted him to maintain the standard they'd set, but his mind was exploding with ideas he wanted to. No, he had to pursue. Dave was just busting out inside to do more, to create his own bullseyes. Using the experiences he gained world over, he stepped out of the constraints of vice president and became one of a kind, master distiller, world class. You see, Dave, he could see the molecules in his mind's eye, and he knew what was going to happen. He was an artist doing what he loved. And as an artist, he also helped start up more than 50 new distilleries, business ground up, and consulted in many more, reshaping the spirit world and giving audience, inspiration, assistance, guidance, and even life to many young entrepreneurs. Perhaps you've heard of a few of them: Hill Rock, Whistle Pig, or even more recently, Blackened by Metallica. And you really need to read the story on that one, where he once again married science with art and remastered their whiskey with their own music. You can read the magazine, it'll be upstairs. As Tim Atkins said, Dave wasn't the bourbon mad scientist slaving in the lab. Dave was a distilling raconteur that held court before groups all over the country. Dave regaled people in interviews and seminars and inspired YouTube followers world over. And that's the same Dave that used to sit around and laugh and shoot the shit after football games or go to dances and sit in the commons with us over 40 years ago. Stuart Thompson told me, though we were never particularly close, something about Dave, if you knew him even a little, you would be his friend. That's truth. In high school, Dave was a special combination of both a brainiac and a jock. Walking in both worlds, he was able to readily relate. No matter what your inclinations were, he could talk to you. That was a trait that served him his entire life. Every single person who wrote to me said the same thing in a different way. Here I'm supposed to interject the time when those of you have Mr. Fogelsong, when Mr. Fogelsong stood up in front of the high school or the class and said he graded on a curve, and Dave was in your room, and you just looked at him, and you knew you were screwed. Tim added, as Dave grew up and became the man that he was, he never stopped being that guy that was at my birthday party when I turned 8, or that guy I knew in high school. He just grew up to address a bigger stage and was able to impact thousands more. There have been so many memories shared during this time with me about Dave. Intelligent, kind, driven, every man's man, down to earth, known throughout the world, giving many of us the pleasure of meeting people who were in awe that we grew up with the Dave Pickerel, and allowed us to share stories with complete strangers. His life became a legend. Margot shared this with me. Dave's friendship taught me these life lessons. Never take anything for granted. Checking on your friends matters. Always be humble and kind. Tomorrow isn't promised. Dave was the epitome of a gentleman, and he had a heart of gold. And his induction into this Hall of Honor is certainly well deserved. Congratulations, my friend. I miss you. And I wish we'd had more time. Salute.
Ladies and gentlemen, we truly appreciate your attendance at tonight's celebration of pride, appreciation, and inspiration. These outstanding sons and daughters of Fairborn have accomplished outstanding achievements in their chosen fields, have brought great pride to the Fairborn City Schools and the Fairborn community, and have made great contributions to people, community, and causes. We are richer because their lives have touched us. May I present to you, for your combined recognition, thank you, and tribute of appreciation, the Fairborn City Schools Hall of Honor Class of 2019.